Welcome to the third episode of Junk Food on the Road. Today...
Where are we looking at today?
I think we're looking at France.
This is the third episode?
We did Canada...
U.S.
Thailand. Welcome
to
to the fourth episode of Junk Food on the Road.
Today we're looking at France.
Are you sure we did the U.S. already?
Pretty sure we did.
Okay. So, the third episode of Junk Food on the Road, France. So, France is a place where Chris went as a young boy, I believe.
Yes, I did. I was about 11.
Yeah, and then I used to go for work every 2 months for about 2 years. And I would always bring Chris treats from France. And that's where we discovered Mars Delight, which I don't think they make anymore, but you know what? They should, because it is really, really good.
Do you remember the difference between Mars Delight and regular Mars bars?
They were like two different bars.
They were. I seem to remember them being a lot different. I don't really remember the specifics of Mars Delight, but I remember them being really good.
They had sort of a flaky inside.
Yeah.
And sort of a nougaty, not nougaty, but creamy chocolatey and wafery, like sort of like a flake bar, but yummier, and then sort of encased in a bit of a wafer, and then covered in this really smooth, creamy milk chocolate.
Yeah, and the chocolate was the best part.
Yeah. I mean, I don't eat that much candy bars, but that was a really, really good one.
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
And it's the first time I also ever saw Kit Kat poppers, those little round balls of Kit Kats.
I think it's just luck.
Yeah, probably. It's just timing.
Yeah, I think they were around other places.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then there was also lots and lots of gummies. And there was that... there was a candy shop on the Champs-Élysées where I used to go every once in a while and pick you up some really crazy gummies like peas and carrots and
fried eggs.
Fried eggs, like really unusual stuff. But they also had a little bit of a chocolate section, and I used to get chocolate-covered Brazil nuts. And they weren't unique to that store, but it was one of the first places I ever saw it, and I almost never see chocolate-covered Brazil nuts anywhere else.
It's amazing. There are certain nuts you always find, and then there's certain nuts that are just really hard, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, and chocolate-covered Brazil nuts, I gotta say, are very, very good.
Yeah, although I'm sure the ratio of chocolate to Brazil nuts is important.
I'm sure it is. Like, I mean, for me, Brazil nuts are a big, chunky nut, so I like a little bit of chocolate and a lot of nut, so that's kind of something that really suits me well.
Yeah.
You'd probably more prefer like a chocolate-covered almond or peanut because there's less nut and more chocolate.
I think my favorite kind of chocolate-covered nut might be an almond.
Those are pretty good.
I do like.
It's got a good texture thing going as well.
Good texture and strong flavor to balance the chocolate quite well.
Yeah, for sure. But I like the Brazil nuts a lot.
I'm trying to think of what else there is in France that.
Well, there's
because we went back recently.
Yeah, we did.
We've been back. I mean, I went with you on one trip, and then we went back together probably about a month ago.
Yeah. No, in France?
Yeah,
a year ago.
A year ago, yes, a year, not a month ago. I meant to say a year. It was almost exactly a year ago.
Yes.
We were in France.
France is a little bit unique to me because I had been to Spain before in Europe a few years earlier, probably like 7 or 8 years before. But France is really the first European country I spent a lot of time in, so a lot of pan-European candies and chocolates to me are things that I discovered in France.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I have the same sort of feeling because the first European city I ever went to was the UK, or the first country was the UK. And so a lot of stuff I think of as being British.
Yeah, so it's sort of like the Milka and the Lacta, the what else is very...
Well, even for me, the Flake and Cadbury.
Kinder Eggs.
Kinder Eggs, yeah. But Kinder Eggs also have a bit of a... I mean, they were quite common in North America for a long time, or in Canada, not the U.S.
But you don't see much Cadbury in France.
No, you don't. You see a lot more of the stuff like Milka and that sort of thing in France. There is a bit of Cadbury, but I don't think they've made quite the inroads that they, have in other countries.
No. There are a lot of gummies, though.
There are a lot of gummies in France. You don't really think about France and gummies together, but...
I think the first gummy company was German, wasn't it?
Haribo, yeah.
Haribo, yeah.
Yeah.
But France has quite a variety.
Yeah.
And then there's the chocolatier, as you would say in North America, chocolatiers.
Chocolatiers. The other thing, I mean, that you can't get around as far as like sweets and stuff like that is crepes.
Oh, street crepes.
Exactly. Like in New York, you know, or like actually I heard recently was it Boston or Chicago is known for their hot dogs or whatever, but Toronto
hot dogs.
Toronto hot dogs are amazing.
Go to Toronto for hot dogs.
I mean, I don't like New York hot dogs, but New York street nuts are good. But if you want to talk the best street food, you have to be talking crepes in France.
I wouldn't say that's the best street food in the world.
In France. No, I'm saying in France.
Oh, in France. Oh, crepes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, crepes are the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, there's like the crêpe au chocolat, the chocolate crepes. There's like all sorts of fillings. There's Nutella. But I always, whenever I would go for like a long walk after work, I would often get a crepe with chestnut cream, Marin Cream, chestnut cream. I don't know what language I'm speaking anymore.
Marron, I think, is in French.
Marron is chestnut in French,
Yeah.
but I think that sometimes if you see it in a tin or something, it's just called Marin Cream, and English uses that. But I can't be sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I sound like a pretentious twat, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean but that's definitely they're so good, and I mean I think that the street crepe is sort of taken over, and you find it there's like cafes and stuff all over the world now that basically sell what would be a street crepe, but there is something about getting it on the street in Paris.
And the chestnut, I haven't seen the chestnut cream anywhere.
You might find it in some sort of more pretentious.
I mean, I haven't been in every country in the world, of course, but I have not seen the Marin Cream. And what's interesting is I have brought tins of Marin Cream home for a friend who is allergic to, like, she's celiac and she's got all sorts of crazy food allergies, but she can eat the Marin Cream, and it's just so lovely to see her like be delighted to eat a treat that is a normal treat for normal people, but something that she can eat as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And she can put it on her no ingredient pancakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of junk food, if we get into fast food a little bit, what's the name of that hamburger?
Quick Burger.
Quick Burger. When we were in France, the first time,
Chris loves Quick Burger.
I ate Quick Burger like mad.
Every day, I think.
We ate Quick Burger every day.
Because you came over to meet me once, and then we spent a week or so.
Yeah. Well, we drove around. That's when we went in the northern parts.
Yeah. And we went into Belgium and Germany as well.
Yeah.
But we're talking about France today.
But Quick Burger, I remember Quick Burger.
Quick Burger is actually quite good. And often you would see a Quick Burger next to that other international burger chain that everybody knows with the big yellow sign. And Quick Burger would have like twice as many people in it. Yeah,
Quick Burger is definitely a competition for McDonald's in France. I don't know if it would survive anywhere else, just because it doesn't have the recognition. But in France, it is.
Although I used to go to the other chain all the time for breakfast because it was the only place you could go and get an egg. Otherwise, you were eating croissants and chocolate. Like, that was it.
Oh, no.
That's all you could get. I need protein in the morning. So I would go and get a pretend American coffee, which was really just watered down espresso, but at least it wasn't in a thimble. It was in like a bigger cup, and an egg, something kind of muffin.
Yeah. You got to admit, actually, coffee in France is sort of, some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah, I just really like light roast that's got that's got a lot of caffeine and a large amount of coffee, because I feel like that's how I'm going to wake up, especially when I'm traveling for work. Like a little bit of concentrated espresso in a thumbnail just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Thumbnail in a thimble.
The other food thing that I remember sort of, I don't know if junk foodish, but truck stoppish, was that we stopped off at this little cafe, or it wasn't a cafe, it was a restaurant when we were driving just north of Paris. And
the truck stop.
The truck stop. And it was
that was not junk food. That was really good food.
It was really good food, but it was just truck stop food, which France truck stop food is fantastic.
Yeah.
But this was just, it was like the craziest thing. Like the menu was set, except you could sort of do some alterations because Allison's allergic to fish, and one of the items I think contained fish or something like that. I think the appetizer had fish, so you could just order it without an appetizer, but it was probably the same price. Yeah. Which was not expensive. But the best thing I'll always remember is just this woman yelling at her husband constantly. Well, she's at our table and we tell her what she wants, and then she just yells at her, Marcel! De verre d'or! But it wasn't quite as nice, and it was a little more shrill. My muscle!
And do you remember walking into that place? I think it was raining out, and we were trying to find somewhere to sleep and eat, and we didn't sleep there, but we just felt it was the only place that we had seen for like ever. And it's like, well, it looks like they have food. And then I felt like we were walking into like a really scary biker roadhouse in, nowhere in the middle of the mid-south or something. and just everybody stared at us as we walked in, all these sort of like scary looking grimy guys with their dirty glasses of beer. Like in an old time Western movie, I don't know, but it was really scary.
But it was a good meal.
It was an excellent meal.
And by the time they sort of got used to us existing, they
just ignored us.
Yeah, they were pretty.
They left us alone.
Yeah, we were okay. That was okay.
Yeah, we were fine. We were really glad to get out of there.
Yeah.
But it was a good meal. Yeah.
Well, speaking of meals, one of the things we often find is when we travel to France, everybody talks about how good the food is. Everybody says it's the greatest food in the world. It's sort of, and I think there are great restaurants in France.
There's amazing restaurants.
But there are a lot of bad restaurants in Paris.
Although it's really hard to find, like, you have to work. I have had bad meals in Paris, but you kind of have to work at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, one place this is ironic. The worst food in Paris probably is, or in the Paris area, Paris Disneyland.
Paris Disneyland has terrible food.
We went to Paris Disneyland. We found one restaurant that we could sort of cope with.
Yeah. It was the Western Tex Mex Buffet.
In general, other than maybe Quick Burger, I do often find that they sort of mess up fast food and junk food, though. Like, if you go to a sit-down cafe or if you go to a restaurant, you generally get good food.
My God, at Disney they messed up the German food.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, it was bad. Don't go to Disneyland. Is really, really fun.
Pack a lunch.
But don't go for the food. But if you really need to eat, go to the sort of south, like the Tex Mex buffet.
Yeah, sort of avoid the rest of it.
Everything. Well, I mean, some of the hot dog, that was awful too.
Yeah.
We had a hot dog inside the park, and I don't, the other meals are just totally not memorable.
Well, considering the Tex Mex buffet was at least 3 of the meals, I think.
There was that one sandwich we had near the Rock and Roller Coaster in the Hollywood Studios part.
That was okay.
The Disney Studios, but that was okay.
It was a sandwich and it was okay. That's pretty much, if you can't make an okay sandwich,
Yeah. But bad meals in Paris are hard. Remember that lunch we had with those gigantic pancake crepe things?
Vaguely, yeah.
It was across the street from that place with the big yellow M. Indian food is so good in Paris. The Mexican food, not so good.
I don't know if I had Indian food.
Chinese food, forget about it. But Indian food, there's a couple of Indian places I've been to. One was in Passy, and one was just off the Champs-Élysées, and they were both... Actually, I think I took you to the Indian place off the Champs-Élysées.
Maybe.
But it excellent, just excellent food.
You know what I remember too is, although it wasn't a crepe stand, there was that crepe restaurant we went to by the Louvre.
That's the one I was talking about, where we had that lunch with the pancake
Was that
crepes.
pancakes?
Well, they were said they were crepes, but they were a little thicker than crepes.
They were a little thicker, and they had like
stuff on them.
Yeah, like spinach.
Like it was like this. The pancake itself was like bigger than our plates.
Yeah, it was good.
That was really good.
I do remember that now.
Yeah, that was somewhere near the Louvre. It was somewhere between the Opera and the Louvre.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where.
Do you think food is more expensive in Paris?
At this point, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't really remember. I don't remember it being
I remember going to there was an Italian restaurant that my colleagues and I used to go to, and I found that a little bit expensive. And I found going out to eat with my colleagues was really expensive because they would polish off like 4 bottles of wine. But I remember, and this is going back to 2006 to 2008. There was a bistro that I just loved in Passy in the 16th arrondissement. And it was called, I'll plug them, Bistro des Vignes. It was excellent. And you could have a meal, nothing fancy and no appetizer, no dessert for about 16 euros. So in Canadian dollars, it's about $25. So I guess that's a little pricey, but it's not break the bank pricey.
Yeah.
And if you want the appetizer and dessert, you're going to pay a little bit more. You're probably going to pay closer to 25 euros and then add wine and you're inching up on 30. But It's really good food.
Yeah.
Really, really good food.
I have memories of a chocolate mousse in France. My mother keeps telling the story every time we talk about the time that we visited when I was a kid. So this chocolate mousse had this crazy thing where they would bring you an entire giant bowl and you'd serve yourself as much as you wanted.
Oh, God.
But the thing is, they didn't explain that to me. So they just brought a giant bowl, and I thought, really? Like, my eyes just lit up because I was like, I get all of this chocolate mousse. It was like a giant bowl of it, and I ate a lot.
Oh, so they put a big bowl of mousse on your table, and then you just sort of supposed to take a bit of it and put it in like a smaller bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't do that.
You ate the whole bowl?
I tried. I really tried.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't understand cultural things.
Did your mother and sister get any of it?
Probably, maybe. I don't know.
That's funny. I'm trying to think of other sort of like candies and junk food.
Yeah, France doesn't really have.
France doesn't have junk food. Well,
yeah, it has Quick Burger, it has McDonald's, it has all the.
It has the bakeries. How can we not mention Chez Paul?
Paul is pretty amazing.
Boulangerie.
It's one of those bakeries that it's not like one of those secret hidden treasure bakeries. It's sort of the fast food.
It's like everywhere.
It's the fast food of bakeries, but it's still really good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. It's everywhere in France.
It's starting to get everywhere in the world.
It's in Greece now. I think there's one.
I thought we saw one in Dubai.
Was it Dubai?
I think we saw one in Dubai as well.
We've seen one very recently, since we were in France.
So you do see them around.
Yeah.
So
I always get the chocolate chip bread. I really like it.
How do you say that in French? Just
viennoiserie aux brisures de chocolat.
There you go.
Yeah. It's really, really good. Or sometimes you say pépite de chocolat.
Yeah.
They'll understand either.
I think that's almost every time we go to France, you pick one up.
I always do. I love that one.
Yeah.
I got one in Greece once, but it was like sweeter and fluffier, and I really like that sort of solid. It's not chewy. I like the sort of chewy one that you actually get in France.
Yeah.
It's like notionally it's supposed to be the same thing, but they do it differently in Greece. But no, it's Paul is definitely the sort of fast food of choice.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about France is there's fast food. Like you can go to a cafe and get like a croque madame or a croque monsieur, a cup of coffee, and it'll be like fast food, but it's not. That is sort of the equivalent. There really isn't an equivalent. Again, without just going to like the standard fast food or a quick burger or something like that, there's sort of a different.
There's trattoria, the trattorias, where you can like get like little takeout sort of Italian food, and then there's all those sandwich shops as well.
Yeah, sandwiches are pretty much.
Pick up a panini. Paninis are a big deal there too.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's if you're looking at fast food, you're looking at like baked goods or sandwiches and things like that. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at then obviously there's the nice meals are generally sit down fancy, and then there's lots of like sweets, but a lot of them again go back to being baked, go back to being that sort of thing. Bakeries are basically the big thing. Everybody gets like a baguette, like a French bread, and some cheese or coffee for breakfast. I once saw somebody riding a bike in France with a striped shirt with a baguette and a basket. And I was like, come on, really? Do you have to perpetuate the stereotype?
Was he wearing a beret?
I think it was a girl, and I don't think she was. I was like, all you need is the beret to finish this up, and that's it. But yeah, France definitely, it has a different thing. And we've been around France outside. We went in the northern part, and it's very similar.
Yeah, but there's Paul's everywhere.
Yeah. But
we ate at Paul in Rouen, where Joan of Arc was burned.
Yeah, I think it was like right outside where she was burned.
Yeah, it wasn't far. It was walking distance.
Yeah, you could like see it or something.
I call it Chez Paul just because my colleagues and I used to call it that, but it's called Paul. So if you go to France and you're like, I want to find Chez Paul, you'll just embarrass yourself by asking where Chez Paul is. That's where Paul is.
I think we can probably wrap this up.
Okay, I think we should.
So
we've embarrassed ourselves enough for 1 month.
We have.
So thank you for joining us for episode number 4 of Junk Food on the Road. We'll see you next month where we'll probably be talking about Belgium.
Bye.
Bye.
tell